Thank you very much, everybody, for coming here. Now we go down to the level of the Spanish-shaped English of the Secretary General of IFFD, but I count on your patience and understanding, comprehension. 50 years ago, they planted a seed that began to grow, became first a tiny plant, but kept growing and growing and growing, and finally it adopted the shape of a everlasting and united couple, as you can see in the image behind me. We went through the first years of we could describe as the first era of family enrichment, the foundation era, when those pioneers decided to apply to the world of family the tools they had used in learning or teaching entrepreneurship or business. Then we went down a second era of family enrichment, the one that Raphael Peak called the new era of family enrichment, that now is the old era of family enrichment, but still alive and fruitful and useful. This was in the 90s when we kind of assimilated, developed, and qualified our case study courses, splitting them in different ranges of ages and getting a really big portfolio, or great portfolio of possibilities of being taught family enrichment. And now we have the strong feeling that we are facing the third era of family enrichment that has to do with the conference we have listened right now. And we want to face and to tackle this era without fears and going to the encounter of this new generation, more sophisticated maybe, more technological for sure, more collaborative or no, more individualistic, more horizontally structured. And we had these thoughts in mind when we decided to go outside and ask for help and advice from the experts. And we started in January, the core people in IFFD trying out and going through a new method of thinking, we can say, in an organization or an institution as IFFD, trying to discover new ways of tackling the problems in a more innovative and more creative approach. We got the advice, and the company and the guideline of a consulting firm specialized in changes of culture in organizations, looking for new business model that can be developed, the model that you have, obviously, because we have a very successful model in IFFD. This is one of the first discoveries, confirmations we have had, centered in the user of our courses and using exponential technologies. And we try to follow exactly the method and the system they suggested to us, the system that the most successful companies in this current world are using, that comes from the tech companies. We are a company, we're an institution with presence in 70 countries, and we need these tools, and we need this new way of facing the reality that we have. You know, I write some books, and I have a kind of literary bias, and I can't help using a poetic image as the tree in order to accompany you through this way. And in these minutes, I will try to clarify to you to summarize first for you, and also to clarify for other people what we are doing in IFFD, and what we are dreaming, and where we are going, or we are thinking we are going to arrive. On Friday, we had the World Meeting of Leaders, and there we shared with all the leaders of family enrichment centers in the world this experience we have had. And today, in these 20 minutes, I would like to summarize it for you and for the people attending the World Meeting of Leaders, for the sake of clarity and know where we are going, what we would like to do. The first thing we did last January was to set up a group of people from the staff of IFFD, from the board of directors of IFFD, from the consultants from Rome and Spain, and from some countries. And this group, the Zero Change Group, we call it, followed the instructions, the directions that this company, this consulting firm was giving to us. Because we wanted to test, we wanted to try out, to confirm if really this method of thinking, many of you probably are acquainted with it, because more or less it's design thinking towards innovation. We could summarize, sum up the concept. Whether this method was useful or not for IFFD, because maybe it wasn't. We are very happy with the results, and I'm going now to try to explain you what we have been doing during these months, and what are the next steps for us, and what do we expect from you, from those of you that want to join this process and want to try out this new way of tackling problems, challenges. The first thing we did, this group, well, first, at the very beginning, in really the staff of IFFD and some people from the board of directors, myself and others, we had some meetings with lots of brainstormings, discussions, debates, in order to transform the problem we saw. We have to connect more with the young people. We have to be really up to date in terms of technology, to transform this problem in a challenge. And the challenge we specified is this one. How could we better collect and manage in all places the opinion of all our users inside and outside the IFFD's world, so that we respond to their particular needs and circumstances with improvements, adaptations, and continuous and rapid innovations in promotion, courses, and other training offers, taking advantage of our talents and taking into account the conditions imposed by the voluntary regime, as well as the aversion to change. 5 bold concepts here. Users. Who are our users? 7,500 million people that live in this world, because we want to arrive, we want to reach out every single person and family of this world, right? But more closely, the people in our countries that we think can be benefited with family enrichment courses, and more closely still, the people attending our family enrichment courses, and finally, we who are in this room, and the people involved in family enrichment activities. All these people are our users, but our end user is every single person in this living in this world. Innovation doesn't need any explanations. We want to innovate in terms of technology, tools, ways of doing, dynamics, and so. Talents, we want to get to know the talents we have in IFFD. We have a huge amount of talent throughout the world in IFFD, but it's very difficult to discover this talent and to channel it. And now we think we have the tools that will help us discovering and taking advantage of all this talent that many times is difficult to discover. And obviously keeping our voluntary approach, but with no fears and overcoming the aversion to change. This was the challenge we set ourselves. And with this challenge, we started this journey. And for this tree to grow, obviously we used the 4 basic ingredients any tree needs to grow: the earth, the water, the sun, and the wind. The earth, because we thought that we needed the soil of a strong, stable mission for IFFD. And this mission, we thought, was to generate dynamics that help each user to discover and live the beauty of family life. Which dynamics? Any dynamic. We are open to any possibility to reach more people, to make more people happy in this society. Only one limit. We have to respect always the essence of our activity. And we described the essence, we summed up the essence with this sentence: to transmit the beauty of family life in an environment of companionship and friendship. We have said many, many times that all our activity must be addressed to create the conditions for the personal treatment to be born and fostered, to create the conditions to deal with every person personally, one by one, on a one-on-one basis. This is our essence, and we will never deviate from this essence. We will keep this essence in any activity that we will launch in the future years. So, challenge and mission. Obviously, we needed also a good water, a water that allowed the tree to assimilate the nutrients of the soil. And we thought the water could be a good vision for IFFD. Where do we want to be in the future years? Which is the vision IFFD has of itself? And the vision we thought could be this. We want to improve and expand our offer of training products that meet and even exceed the expectations of users for their timelines and excellence. Not to go chasing the users, the participants of the courses, but they coming to us. Increase the satisfaction of our usual users and reach more and better our ideal users and those who need the family enrichment but still do not know it. Later on, I will say some words about the users. More to it. Empowering the family enrichment centers, to implement the innovations demanded by their users and speeding up the work of the technical committees. You are in the forefront, in the vanguard of family enrichment. You are innovating continuously. You are adapting the courses, the technical notes, the names, the ways, the manners that you are using to expand family enrichment, and we want to count on this. So we ask you not to wait for the solutions, the technical notes, the cases that IFFD can provide to you. Obviously, we will continue doing that, but we want you to provide us with your talent and with all the possibilities that we have in so many countries and in so many family enrichment centers. And finally, to become a global, flexible, and decentralized organization. And then we thought we also needed this slide, a sun that enlightened, illuminated our path, and we wanted to pursue some values. And the values we listed, open to other values, obviously, are these ones: coherence and honesty in order to recognize the needs for improvement and assume them. Dialogue and empathy to understand and serve the user and have the talent of many at the service of change. Innovation, as the changing environment and needs call for new solutions. And not enough. Flexibility and adaptability to adopt measures of change and improvement with agility, overcoming the initial aversion to changes. Excellence and professionalism, so that the courses and other training offerings meet the expectations of all users, no one behind. And gratitude. Gratitude to all those who have dedicated so many years of their lives to promote this activity generously, and maybe they resist change. Maybe we resist change. All of us have this small resistant, reluctant to changes, to go out of your comfort zone. Okay, with all this equipment of values, vision, mission, with this luggage, we started this journey during these months. And what did we do during these months? We used this methodology of design thinking towards innovation that consists of, what we first did was get to learn and develop digital skills, new applications, new softwares, new tools that allow us to develop a real collaborative work. We needed these tools because we have a worldwide present, and it's very difficult for us to travel. This is really this is a real exception for IFFD, having here 1,000 people attending a Congress. It's very difficult. We know you have done a lot of efforts, financial, family, logistical efforts to be today here. This is why we have the Congresses every 4 years, because if not, all the structure of IFFD is focused on the Congress, and we disregard the courses on one side, and also we know for you it's not easy to come here. Now we are trying to have another inter-Congresses encounters in different regions. We had one in Paris, we had one in Colombia in 2017 and 2018, but we need these tools. Most of you, some of you probably are acquainted with these tools, but IFFD was not. And we did this humble decision to hire someone to teach us to use these tools that we want now to implement in our daily activity. The second thing we did, this team, I said before, the people from IFFD, the people from the consultants, the people from some countries, where we wanted to test the prototypes that we were willing to develop, was to build a team. We knew one another, but we exposed one another a bit more. We explained which were our superpowers, if we had anyone. We explained our weaknesses, we explained our fears, our challenges, our goals, and really we built a more cohesive and united team. Then, once we were this cohesive team, then we went into the history of IFFD. Who we are, who are we, what have we done, which are the main milestones of IFFD, the foundation in 50 years ago, the formal foundation in 1978 with the foundation, then the federation in 1998, when we launched the first steps course, when did this, when the congresses became really a multitude, when, and everything. In order to remember who we are, because this is important, which is our NDA, no? ADN, NDA, DNA, our DNA. And then we also reviewed our lexicon, the vocabulary, which is very important because vocabulary can change reality. Really, we understand the same when we use some words, users, family enrichment course, case method, etc. And we revised all this. We have all this in a deliverable that we can later on share with you. And then we went outside. We went outside to do a kind of research, these people, this small group. What the competitors, if we can use this expression, are doing. What the best business schools are doing. What the best adult training schools are doing. What the best companies are doing in the field of culture, in the field of business, in any field. And which tools are they using? And we did this little research. And then we went to the most important part of all this process, is get to know our user. What do they need? What do they expect? What are their contradictions? But we didn't do that in a random way. We thoroughly studied and classified our users. And then we distinguished between what we called early adopters, ideal users, and laggards maybe, late adopters. The first ones showed us where they were expecting us to go, which were our flaws, our weaknesses. But the second showed us which were our strengths, and landed us in the earth. Thanks to them, we are stick to the earth, and we keep doing what we are doing, the courses following the case method. And then we planned the interviews. This group, with many suggestions, many people, we made a kind of template of how we were going to conduct the interviews. And then we were outside to do the interviews, all of us. All of us at least did three or four interviews. Long interviews, friendly interviews, learning to listen with an empathetic listening, with a friendly listening, with no excuses, with no arguments, not explaining what we do, not giving any excuse of the problems that they may be find in our courses, or the defects or the mistakes we commit. Just listen. Then we went to these interviews. And once we had all the interviews, we took away the standard characteristics, the features more repeated in the interviews, and we designed a kind of profile persona, a kind of profile person, a character, an ideal character that we needed to focus. One or two, one ideal, maybe one standard, one late adopter, one early adopter. And then we developed an empathy map of this ideal person. And we asked ourselves, what do they see? What do they listen? What do they think? What do they feel? What do they say? And what do they do? And we thought about all these questions. And then we tried to discover their contradictions. They say they want to be a happy family, but they don't find time to attend a family enrichment course. They say they want to devote more time to their children, but they can't manage the problems or the balance between family and work. And these kind of contradictions. But with this scientific approach, with this methodological approach, not just a random thought that I can have in theory, seated in front of my desk and writing a post for my Twitter or whatever. No, really following this method. And then we went into the ideation moment. The next step was to to develop this solution. We had a challenge, we have developed all this method, and now we have to come to a conclusion. Then we did a strong brainstorming, first instantaneous brainstorming, the normal way of brainstorming, and then a reflective brainstorming during the following days. And this way, we had some In this brainstorming, maybe we came up with, I don't know, dozens of solutions, dozens of possibilities, dozens of ideas coming from every one of us. Then we grouped these ideas, we categorized them, we catalogized them, and then we chose some of them. But again, not randomly. We made a matrix with two axes, the axis of impact and the axis of effort, and we looked for the ideas that could have the most impact with the least effort, because we have to begin with something. We can't fix everything that we think is wrong in wherever. And these winning ideas, that finally were three, were developing the best affectivity session, creating a team of experts in innovation, methodology, pedagogical methodology and techniques that help us having always our courses being up to date. And finally, improve the relationships between IFFD headquarters and family enrichment centers. This was the experience of this Zero Change team. And when we arrived here, what did we do? We didn't implement these ideas, because we created 3 new groups to develop these ideas. Because, and the first one, Effectivity session, we created a group with young people from 20 to 30 years old, maybe. Some of them had participated in the personal project course. Some of them had no idea of IFFD courses, and they mixed with moderators and with some members of board of directors of some family enrichment centers. This was in Spain. The second one was in Argentina, a group of experts that were going to develop some products or to offer some products. And the third one was an international group with 11 people from 11 countries from the 5 continents, thinking of how IFFD could improve its relationship with the countries and how the countries amongst them can also improve this fluent or can get this fluent relationship. But we didn't want them to give us a product, because the important here is this process. This process really leads you to a moment of sharing knowledge in which you are able to think otherwise, to think in another way that you normally thought. Sharing also these thoughts with the other people of the group. And what did these groups do? The same that we experienced. They developed their own challenge. Don't worry, I'm not going to explain all of it. They developed, they wrote their own challenge. They wrote their own mission. They developed their own vision. They listed their own values, and then they went to the same process of design thinking towards innovation. They created, they got to know the skills, they created a team, they went to the history and lecture of their challenge, everyone different of the others, which is the history, which vocabulary, what are doing the competencies, etc., etc. They went to research, they went to the encounter of the user, they elaborated the empathy map, trying to get to know really better their users, and finally they arrived to the moment of the ideation. And what is the result of this? Some products that we have there, that these teams have developed, and we will see if they work or not, because the next step is testing them. We are not going to launch anything before testing in a more reduced settlement, in a more reduced ambit, maybe in a country, maybe in a region. We will see. The result of that is that we confirmed, we tested that the method worked, because really these three groups arrived to solutions that can be useful for IFFD. The first one developed an Instagram account to attract young people to the courses. The second one developed a pod case, an audio case, to replace the written cases. We will see if we can afford to do that. But this is not the important thing. The important thing is that they use this method, and using this method they arrive to different conclusions that maybe they could have gotten. Maybe not. Maybe you are very wise and you directly have the correct, the best solution. No? Because on the way, we discovered the talent. On the way, I thought I knew what collaborative work was until I engaged this experience. And every 2 weeks, I had to follow the directions of the new leadership that was being passed on to a different member of the group every 2 weeks, fortnightly. And we discovered that really the challenge that we had had set to us in the beginning could be confirmed, because we had reached the users, we knew what the users wanted, we used innovative technology, we discovered lots of talent during our journey, and we kept our voluntary approach with no fear to changes. And the third team explained on Friday to the leaders of family enrichment their outcome, their solution, that was to create panels, or international group of panels of experts in the different areas and topics of IFFD: promotion, launching courses, moderators training, and so on, so on, so, in order to really share the knowledge and have this access to knowledge open to everybody. This was the solution, and we will try it then following this method. So, what we want to do? Which are the next steps? Because we want these three to keep growing. This is the year of validation. We are validating the method. We are happy with it. We think it works. We think it's very useful for IFFD and can be fruitful for all of you. This is our first conclusion during this year. Next year will be the year of consolidation. These groups will be consolidated. Maybe some of you that want to try this methodology, we have the platform with all the modules, with all the steps you have to do, the guidelines. We have a detailed guide that you can follow in order to. We will assign to you a mentor that we will explain you the next steps and so on and so. But in the third year, if this works, we will scale up this to all the organization. But at the moment, we want you to keep doing what you are doing. We want you to give many family enrichment courses all over the world and to have many families being happy all over the world. This is our next step. But those of you that think you have a problem, a serious problem, a tiny inconvenience in your activities, in your family enrichment centers, in your area of activity, we ask you to look for this problem, to detect the problem, to transform this problem in challenges, to ask us to show you this method if you think you are, if you're ready and you think it can be useful in your area, and then we will try to help you using this methodology to solve a specific problem. We have a secretary, second secretary in our board of directors that is a bit lazy. Well, this is a problem. Let's face this problem. Let's tackle this problem. Okay. And I insist, the limit The edge is our essence. We cannot forget our essence. Our essence is to transmit the beauty of family life in an environment of companionship and friendship, going one-on-one, as I have explained before. This is our IFFD tree, and we want this IFFD tree to keep growing much more. We want to shelter all the families of the world below under this family tree. So this is our IFFD dream also, and this is my last piece of advice, and with this I finish. I think we have to keep dreaming, because we will see how really these dreams, as on Friday we repeat it once and again, we will see how these dreams will again fall short. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Javier. So you're